Shalom, friends. I am the digital avatar of Mr. Batman. Today, we are going to dive deep into one of the most explosive and monumental statements Yeshua ever made. When we read the Bible in English, 2,000 years removed from the context, we often miss the earthquake contained in a single sentence found in the 15th chapter of John. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to picture the scene in the 1st century. If you were to walk up to Herod's temple in Jerusalem, adorning the gates of the sanctuary, there was a colossal golden vine. This was not a small decoration. Josephus, the historian, tells us it was a marvel to behold. People would donate gold to add leaves and clusters of grapes to it. It was the supreme symbol of national Israel. It represented their identity, their politics, their heritage, and their status as the chosen people of God. It was as recognizable to them as a national flag is to us today. So, when Yeshua stands up in John chapter 15 and says, "I am the true vine," he isn't just giving us a nice farming lesson. He is redefining the very identity of the people of God. He is saying that the location of your covenant status has shifted. It is no longer found in a geopolitical nation. It is no longer found in your ethnic lineage, and it is no longer found in the physical building of the temple. He is asserting that the covenant is now found in an organic, living connection to himself. He is the faithful remnant. He is the walking Torah. But why did the definition need to shift? Why did he call himself the true vine? That implies there was a vine that was false, or at least a vine that had failed. To understand this, we have to look at the Torah and the prophets, where Israel is consistently described as a vine that failed to meet its purpose. We see this clearly in Isaiah chapter 5. Listen to the heartbreak of the father in verses 1 through 7. The text says, "Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes." That phrase, wild grapes, is the Hebrew word beushim. It literally means sour, stinking grapes. The father asks, "What more could I have done for my vineyard?" He gave it the law, the prophets, the covenants, and the land, and yet, when he looked for justice and righteousness, he found oppression. In Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 21, the father cries out again, "Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?" Because the corporate national vine produced sour fruit despite the vine dresser's care, Yeshua steps in. He presents himself as the alethinos, that is the Greek word for the true, genuine, or perfect fulfillment. He succeeds where the nation failed. He bore the fruit of righteousness that the nation could not. So here is the shift. The covenant is no longer ethnic, it is organic. Yeshua redefines the community as those who abide in him. This word abide, or meno in the Greek, is critical. In Hebrew thought, this isn't just sitting around and thinking about him. It implies an active dwelling. It is a functional connection. Identity is not secured by who your parents were, but whether or not you are attached to the source of life. John 15 verse 1 says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman." The Father is the vine dresser. He has two specific jobs regarding the branches. Verse 2 says, "Every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit." Now, there is a beautiful nuance here that we often miss in translation. The phrase "taketh away" is the Greek word airi. While it can mean to remove, in the context of ancient viticulture, it also means to lift up. Vines in that region would trail along the ground. If a branch falls into the dirt, it gets covered in mud and dust. It cannot get sunlight. It cannot bear fruit. A good vine dresser doesn't just hack it off immediately. He lifts it up. He washes it off. He ties it to the trellis so it can breathe and receive the light. The Father wants you to be fruitful, so He lifts you out of the dirt of the world. But what about the fruitful branch? The text says He purgeth it. The word is katheri. It means to prune or to cleanse. If you are bearing fruit, the Father is going to cut you, not to hurt you, but to make you more productive. He cuts away the sucker shoots, those distractions that sap your energy but produce no grapes. And how does He clean us? What is the instrument of this pruning? Yeshua tells us explicitly in verse 3, "Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you." The word, the Torah, the scriptures, is the pruning shears. It cuts away our fleshly desires. It corrects our walk. It is the instruction that shapes us. This brings us to the inclusion of the nations. This redefinition of the vine allows for you, if you are a Gentile, to be grafted in. But we must be very careful here. This does not mean the church has replaced Israel. Absolutely not. Paul explains this perfectly in Romans chapter 11. He describes the covenant as a cultivated olive tree. He says in verse 17, "And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree wert graft in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches." This is a warning to us today. He says, "But if thy boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee." You are a wild olive branch. By nature you are wild, uncultivated, and separate from the covenants of promise. But through faith in Yeshua, you have been grafted contrary to nature into the cultivated tree of Israel. You do not support the root. The root, the patriarchal promises and the Messiah, support you. You are there to share in the fatness of the olive tree. We are one tree, one people, serving one king. So the big question is, how do we stay connected? How do we abide? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotional experience during a worship song? No. Yeshua defines abiding very clearly in verse 10. "If you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." Covenant identity is maintained by faithfulness. It is maintained by obedience. The only evidence that you are strictly connected to the true vine is that you produce the fruit of the vine. You cannot be an apple branch stuck on a grapevine. If you are in the vine, you will walk as he walked. You will love as he loved, and you will keep the Torah as he kept the Torah. I want to close today with a mandatory reflection. I want you to listen to these questions and really let them sink into your spirit. Ask yourself why the modern religious landscape looks so different from what Yeshua described. If Yeshua redefined Israel's identity as an organic connection to himself, why do we treat the church as a separate entity, unrelated to the true vine of Israel? Why do we try to build a separate building when he asked us to graft into the existing tree? Why do we treat abiding as a mystical, emotional state when Yeshua explicitly defined it as the active keeping of his commandments? Remember, Yeshua noted that branches that do not bear fruit are eventually removed and burned. How does this square with the modern tradition of unconditional eternal security, regardless of our conduct? Why do we define love as a feeling toward God when Yeshua commanded it as a specific horizontal action toward our brothers in the covenant community? And finally, if Yeshua is the true vine who succeeded where the national vine failed, why do we not follow his specific example of how to walk in the Father's instructions? Friends, if the purpose of the branch is solely to bear the fruit of the vine, why is so much of modern religious life focused on the branch's individual self-fulfillment and leaves rather than the vine's fruit? We must return to the source. we must return to the true vine. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we ask that you prune us with your word. If we are trailing in the dirt, lift us up, wash us off, and set us in the sun. Help us to abide in the true vine, keeping your commandments in love and truth. In the precious name of Yeshua HaMashiach, also known as Yeshua ben Yahweh, Jesus our Elohim. Amen.